True hell has broken out in eastern Ukraine, according to the governor of a region that has been occupied by Russia. The governor of Luhansk, Serhiy Haidai, said Russian troops had not announced an operational pause and were continuing to attack and shell with the same intensity as before. Despite Russian assessments that they were taking an operational pause, a regional governor said Saturday that Russian forces are still managing to raise true hell in Ukraine's eastern industrial heartland. Another Ukrainian official urged residents of Russian-occupied southern areas to evacuate as quickly as possible, by all possible means, before a Ukrainian counteroffensive. Deadly Russian shelling was reported in Ukraine's east and south. Russian artillery, mortar, and rocket assaults were launched overnight, according to Serhiy Haidai, governor of the eastern Luhansk region. Russian troops are advancing into the Donetsk region, Haidai stated. Haidai posted on Telegram that, "We are striving to restrict the Russians' armed units along the entire front line." Last week, Russia captured the last major stronghold of Ukrainian resistance in Luhansk, the city of Lysychansk. Analysts predicted Moscow's troops likely would take some time to rearm and regroup. But, so far, there has been no operational pause announced by the enemy. "He is still attacking and shelling our lands with the same intensity as before," Haidai said. In a later post, he claimed Russian bombardment of Luhansk was suspended because Ukrainian forces had destroyed ammunition depots and barracks used by the Russians. Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister, Irina Vereshchuk, appealed to residents of Russian-held territories in the south to evacuate so the occupying forces could not use them as human shields during a Ukrainian counteroffensive. "You need to search for a way to leave, because our armed forces are coming to occupy," she said. "There will be a massive fight. I don't want to scare anyone. Everyone understands all of this anyway." Speaking at a news conference late Friday, Vereshchuk said a civilian evacuation effort was underway for parts of the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. She declined to give details, citing safety considerations. It was not clear how civilians were expected to safely leave Russian-controlled areas while missile strikes and artillery shelling continue in surrounding areas, or whether they would be allowed to depart or even hear the government's appeal. The war's death toll continued to rise. 5 people were killed and 8 more wounded in Russian shelling Friday of Siversk and Semyhyria in the Donetsk region, its governor, Pavlo Kirilenko, wrote Saturday on his Telegram channel. In the city of Sloviansk, named as a likely next target of Russia's offensive, rescuers said they pulled a 40-year-old man from the rubble of a building destroyed by shelling Saturday. Kirilenko said multiple people were under the debris. Russian missiles also killed 2 people and wounded 3 others Saturday in the southern city of Kryvyi Rih, according to regional authorities. They deliberately targeted residential areas, Valentin Reznachenko, governor of the eastern Dnipropetrovsk region, said on Telegram. Kryvyi Rih's mayor, Alexander Vilkel, asserted on Facebook that cluster munitions had been used and urged residents not to approach unfamiliar objects in the streets. Kryvyi Rih is the hometown of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who had been there just the day before to meet with Vilkel and the brigadier general who commands troops in the region. Zelensky's office said he was briefed on the construction of defensive structures, the support of the troops, the supply of food and medicine to the city and the conditions provided for people who had fled to Kryvyi Rih after being driven out of their homes elsewhere in Ukraine. In northeast Ukraine, a Russian rocket strike on Saturday hit the center of Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv, injuring 6 people, including a 12-year-old girl, authorities said. An Iskander ballistic missile was probably used in the strike, the Kharkiv Regional Prosecutor's Office said. One of the missiles hit a two-story building, which led to its destruction. Neighboring houses were damaged. The city has been targeted throughout the war, including several times in the past week. As survivor Valentina Murgaratsaya dabbed at a cut on her cheek, first responders warily inspected the building shattered in Saturday's strike. "I don't know," Murgaratsaya said. "I just don't know." Mykolaiv Mayor Alexander Senkevich reported in a Telegram post that 6 Russian missiles were fired at his city in southern Ukraine, near the Black Sea, but caused no casualties. Russian defense officials claimed Saturday that their forces destroyed a hangar housing U.S. howitzers in the Donetsk region, near the town of Chasiv Yar. There was no immediate response from Ukraine. In another development, on Saturday U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, urging the international community to join forces to condemn Russian aggression, told journalists he had raised concerns with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi over Beijing's alignment with Moscow. The diplomats both described their first in-person discussions since October as candid, with the meeting taking place a day after they attended a gathering of G20 foreign ministers on the Indonesian island of Bali. "I shared again with the state councillor that we are concerned about the PRC's alignment with Russia," Blinken told a news conference after the talks, referring to the People's Republic of China. He said did not think China was behaving in a neutral way as it had supported Russia in the United Nations and amplified Russian propaganda. Blinken said Chinese President Xi Jinping had made it clear in a call with President Vladimir Putin on June 13 that he stood by a decision to form a partnership with Russia. Shortly before Russia's February 24 Ukraine invasion, Beijing and Moscow announced a no-limits partnership, although U.S. officials say they have not seen China evade tough U.S.-led sanctions on Russia or provide it with military equipment. According to Reuters, U.S. officials have warned of consequences, including sanctions, should China offer material support for the war that Moscow calls a special military operation to degrade the Ukrainian military. Kyiv and its Western allies say the invasion is an unprovoked land grab. U.S. officials had said before the talks that the meeting was aimed at keeping the difficult U.S.-China relationship stable and preventing it from veering inadvertently into conflict. Moving forward, the United States wants our channels of communication with Beijing to continue to remain open, Blinken said. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said in late June that U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping were expected to speak again in the next few weeks. Daniel Russell, a top U.S. diplomat for East Asia under former President Barack Obama who has close contact with Biden administration officials, said ahead of the talks a key aim for the meeting would be to explore the possibility of an in-person meeting between Biden and Xi, their first as leaders, possibly on the sidelines of a G20 summit in Bali in November. The United States calls China its main strategic rival and is concerned it might one day attempt to take over the self-ruled democratic island of Taiwan, just as Russia attacked Ukraine.